there is one practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. No, it's this. Inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid.
If Democrats really want to gain power again, the answer isn't avoiding Trump. The real solution is to energize their moderate voters and get them to show up in the primaries. They already have the numbers, they just need to use them. Congressman Seth Moulton even admitted that, as a Democrat, he feels afraid to say certain things openly. But that's the problem. They need to stop being afraid of honesty.
All the time. Why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted
and start focusing on what truly matters. Bill Maher isn't cutting them any slack. Instead of pitying a party with no leader, no vision, and no clear message, he's calling them out. He pointed directly at AOC and other Democrats for refusing to learn from their past defeats. Maher explained his frustration by pointing out that, despite being a loyal supporter who voted for them and promoted their causes, Democrats constantly avoid his show. He's asked Hillary, Bill Clinton, Kamala Harris, and even Obama. It took 8 years and a petition to finally get Obama on, but most of them still refuse. Why? Because they're scared of being asked tough questions.
They show up, and when they do, they take their beating like a man. You went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed his ass after that.
Oh, bullshit.
When the Mueller report came out, I feel like you mischaracterized it, and I feel that was shady. But you campaigned for election deniers in 2022. This I do not forgive. The Republicans, including you, January 6th, etc., are the ones who are no longer willing to play by the rules of democracy. Amendment 22, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's maybe you should have this. Here,
Rather than face real debates, they hide in their safe spaces. Republicans, on the other hand, show up. And when they do, even if they get grilled, they take it head-on. That's the difference Maher sees. The left avoids challenges while the right at least shows up for the fight. When the Mueller report came out, some Republicans felt Bill Maher twisted it. But the bigger issue was when certain Republicans, including election deniers in 2022, crossed a line. January 6th showed that many were no longer willing to respect the rules of democracy. And despite the Constitution...
AOC on the show, and Mandami and Elizabeth Warren. But I can't subpoena the guests. And I can't fix that what the Democrats are scared of more than anything else, I mean, obviously besides gluten, is being primaried from the far left, even though most Democrats are not far left. They're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse.
Being clear that no president can serve more than 2 terms. Trump's third run keeps being discussed. But here's the difference. Republicans, whether right or wrong, still show up. They sit across from Maher, take the tough questions, and defend their views. Even if they stumble or lose the argument, at least they face it. That shows a level of courage and accountability. Democrats, on the other hand, often refuse to appear. Maher has said he'd love to host AOC, Elizabeth Warren, or others, but he can't force them. And the truth is, Democrats are scared not of Republicans, but of being challenged from the far left. Even though most Democrats are moderate.
Practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. No, it's this. Inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid of.
The loudest voices are the extremists pushing the woke agenda. Instead of standing firm, the party keeps giving in. This has left the Democratic Party weak, more focused on pleasing activists than serving everyday Americans. The Democratic Party doesn't need another leader who bends to the loudest activists. It needs someone with real courage to finally say enough and push back against the far-left takeover. If Democrats want to regain power, the solution is simple. Get moderates excited and inspire them to vote in the primaries. They already have the numbers, but those voters often stay home because they feel ignored. As Bill Maher points out, many moderates who once proudly called themselves Democrats have drifted away. They feel alienated by a party that seems controlled by the far left. These people might return if the party...
The power and influence to be able to, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party nationally.
I think the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrat socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get.
Showed balance, but instead, Democrats tiptoe around activists, too afraid of backlash to stand firm. Until the party breaks free from that grip, it will keep losing moderates and remain stuck in fear-driven politics. Maher makes another sharp point. If Democrats put someone like Zohran Mamdani at the front of their ticket in 2028, they'd be handing Republicans, maybe J.D. Vance, the White House on a silver platter. Mamdani's brand of woke socialist politics might appeal to Gen Z, but they're not the biggest voting group. Millennials, Gen X, and especially baby boomers still dominate the polls, and they're less likely to support far-left ideas. Betting on someone like Mamdani would be political suicide. The truth is, far-left figures are great at pointing out problems, but their real goal is control. They focus on people's weaknesses.
A psycho who all they care about is controlling you. They're very good at diagnosing problems. Yeah. They're very good at figuring out what your weak points are. And that's, I would argue, what a lot of these people are doing.
That's right.
They recognize that if you can focus on these problems, then you can, use that dissatisfaction to gain power.
Stir dissatisfaction, and then use that frustration to build power for themselves. Democrats risk everything if they let that mindset keep steering the party. Mamdani is not showing real leadership. He is using people's frustrations for his own gain. Instead of fixing real problems, he turns them into weapons, creating anger and division. His speeches don't offer practical solutions. They only make issues worse. It's the same old strategy: blame others, stir emotions, but never solve anything. Socialism, no matter how attractive it may sound, has never brought real success anywhere it was tried. Many young voters who have not experienced or studied its failures fall for Mamdani's promises. They see big ideas dressed up as progress but don't consider the serious consequences. Weak economies, fewer freedoms, and more division. Mamdani is not guiding people toward answers. He is selling a
guy like you, who you spent your whole life talking about how government tries to do too much, which it does, and spends too much. And here you have Trump, who is the Republican, who is aggrandizing more power than anybody, as we just talked about. And on the other side, you have the guy running in New York, Mamdani, right? Okay, who's like a straight-up communist. I mean, he is. He talks about, the things that communists say. I mean, he wants free grocery stores, free buses.
I want him to win.
You want him to win?
Yeah. I think every 20 years or so...
Wait.
We need every 20 years or so, we need a conspicuous, confined experiment with socialism so we can crack it up.
Dangerous fantasy that history has already disproven, while young crowds cheer without asking tough questions. It must be frustrating for those who have always warned that government tries to do too much and spends too much. On one side, Trump is gathering more power than ever, and on the other, Mamdani is pushing communist-style ideas like free grocery stores and free buses. Some say they want him to win just to remind people every few decades how socialism fails. But many of us already know the results of socialism from history. We don't need to repeat those mistakes. We are not hoping for Mamdani's victory. We are hoping more Democrats wake up before it's too late. His ideas may sound good in theory but collapse in reality. His promises stir emotions but weaken the very foundations of a strong economy and free.
Slogan used to be, workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose but your chains. The new socialist slogan is, trust us, this time it won't be a mess. So, when the post-war Labour government in Britain was about to get started, one of their leading lights was a socialist named Anurian Bevan. He said, what could go wrong? He said, we have a nation bedded on coal, surrounded by fish. It would take an organizational genius to have a shortage of either. In 3 years, they had a shortage of both. That's socialism.
Society. What we really hope for is that voters see clearly, beyond slogans and speeches, and understand the long-term dangers hidden in Mamdani's platform. If Democrats want their party to survive, they must stop him before he pulls it into destruction. The old socialist slogan used to be, workers of the world, unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. The new one might as well be, trust us, this time it won't fail. When Britain's post-war Labour government came to power, one of their socialist leaders, Anurian Bevan, said with confidence, what could go wrong? We have a nation built on coal and surrounded by fish. It would take a genius to create a shortage of either. Within 3 years, there were shortages of both. That's socialism in action. On paper, socialism looks good. Everyone is supposed to
Usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it.
Equally, and no one gets left behind. But in practice, it always turns out worse than capitalism. Capitalism may not be perfect, but it rewards hard work, creativity, and determination. You can build something for yourself and your family. Socialism flips that promise. Instead of fairness, it gives more power to a small group at the top while ordinary people are left with nothing, no matter how hard they work. It doesn't bring equality. It brings poverty, resentment, and failure dressed up as progress. History shows socialism doesn't lift people up. It traps them. But instead of learning from that, some on the far left keep pushing the same ideas, as if repeating the same mistakes will magically make them work. The problem with the left isn't only their policies. It's their attitude. They often look down on conservatives.
For you. They don't have a monopoly on stupid. You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person.
Treating them as ignorant or backward. They act as if they're smarter, kinder, and morally superior. But this arrogance blinds them to reality. When you underestimate people's frustrations, you lose. At the same time, the left is not free from its own problems. They wear Queers for Palestine shirts,